Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk. It's another Tuesday evening, and it's shortly after 6, and we're so glad to have you here. And here on Let's Talk, we like to talk about issues that matter to you. And we like to come up with workable, practical solutions where we have more action and less talk. I'm your host, Jason, with my co-host, Cheryl. And today, we have it up on the screen, the big red crime. It's our topic for today, crime. We finally get to it, guys. This the show we're trying to do this.
Talk about crime.
Wow, that's
Finally
true.
get to it.
Finally get to talk about it. But before we go any further, let's get some house cleaning business. We want you to join in on this conversation today. 352-8255, 352-8255, or drop us a comment in the chat, and we'll read it live. But we prefer to hear from you. And we want you to weigh in on this conversation because crime, as we know it, touches every one of us. Touches every one of us personally. And even if not personally, we know somebody who has been affected by crime. Crime is something it's been around and it's going to continue to be around.
Yes.
It ain't going nowhere, but we got to try to find ways to mitigate it. Here in our little Bahamas with our little 400 plus thousand people, our crime, I think, is kind of high. The stats for crime is kind of high. Cheryl, what you got to say? What you got to say?
So I think, I don't know if you're going to disagree with me, but I think as long as you have people, you'll have crime.
Oh, most definitely.
As long as you have people. And I heard some time ago that the first crime in the Bible that was committed was between Cain and Abel.
Yes.
And it's funny though, the reason was it was about jealousy.
Yes.
About wanting what someone else has.
Yes.
And I think this is the same reason that most of the crimes are committed now. Just, jealousy or wanting what someone else has and, not doing what you need to do to get it, but just wanting something the easy way. Of course, there are many other issues, reasons for why, but the bottom line is, just typically us just being selfish and
yes,
putting ourselves first instead of others and the needs of others.
Right, and not being content.
Yeah.
Because if you're not contented with what you have,
Mm-hmm.
you tend to want others, what other people have, which leads to envy.
Exactly.
And when you envy in somebody, that means you want what they have. And like you said, a lot of us don't want to work for it. We want it the easy way. So some of us of that mindset, we go and we take it.
Yeah,
which is a crime.
That's true.
It's not just always, it's not only things we take, we actually take other people's relationships too.
That's true.
We see their relationships, we want that, and we're jealous of it, and we do what we could to have that relationship. And
That's true.
that leads to crime.
That's true.
Because
and I think the bottom line too is, as you spoke, I was thinking of self-control.
yes,
Not having self-control. Because, you could be hungry and not having anything to eat. And instead of stealing something, you control yourself
Yes.
and figure out another way.
yes,
But a lot of times, a lot of things, when people commit crimes of passion, it's because of a lack of control.
yes,
In a lot of cases, you have rape and many of all those other things that, it's a matter of
control.
self-control.
Yes, self-control.
So, and I know that as I listened to the show, I watched the show last week, as you guys talked about social ills, and these are some of the reasons for crime: the lack of education, the unemployment rate being that high.
Almost definitely.
However, the bottom line is, if you're able to control yourself and figure out another way to meet your needs, then crime will
Yes.
never be an option, should never be an option.
Yes.
Because the end should never justify the means,
Correct.
no matter what the situation is.
Correct. And I don't think, especially here in the Bahamas, we have not been pushed to that desperate measure that we have to be pushed in crime.
Right.
There's always another
That's true.
option.
That is true.
We don't know what real poverty is. We don't know what
You are so
real
right.
racism is and what
Right.
being
Yes.
held down and victimization. We don't know the real thing when compared to the rest of the world. So
Right.
we
But
still
I
have
know
a choice.
I know a lot of people looking at you right now saying, but you don't know what that is. But,
Listen,
hey, you
listen.
walk a mile in my shoes.
We
And
all
I
got a
guess-
story.
Yeah, that's true too. Because typically in the Bahamas, when we say we're hungry and we have
Oh,
nothing
no.
to eat, it means we don't like what we have to
Exactly.
eat, but we have options. And I'm sure there are a few cases of people who genuinely don't
Yes.
have anything. But like you say, for the most part.
For the most part, I'm not speaking for everybody. For the
Right.
most part, we don't really know what real oppression is,
Exactly.
and real hunger and real racism. We don't really know the depths of it compared to other countries. Now, like you mentioned, there are a few people here who can say yes, they do know, but for the most part of us, the Bahamians, we don't know. So we haven't been backed into that corner yet to say, yeah, we have to resort to crime.
Yeah.
Now, I say yet because things are trending downward, right?
But
And-
is there ever a time to resort to crime?
No. I mean, crime now, it could be a crime when they say, who according to who makes the law.
That's true. And some people say, well, what's needful is lawful.
Yes.
You know, demand, certain people tax, their taxes for certain
Yes,
people and certain people
exactly.
have to do this and do that. So because, like you said, there are different kinds of crime. Because there are the white-collar crimes that are committed by, the white-collar people.
Right, exactly.
So it depends. And sometimes some people, based on your socioeconomic status, you feel like the law is not in your favor
Yes.
because, some people get away with stuff.
Yes, and like I say, sometimes they make laws that create criminals. And I'm not talking about hardened criminals now because,
Right.
let's for instance, they have this law that they just passed where they need anybody towing a trailer or boat behind their vehicle, they need this license, this
Okay.
special license. Now we have our fishermen from on the outskirts in the
Yes.
west and east. They've been towing boats behind their trucks for years, these little rickety boats and little trucks.
Right.
But now they want these guys to go and get these $300. I think the license is like $300 to get this
Wow.
license to pull their boat. And if they get pulled over, then they get a ticket.
Wow.
So now, in the eyes, that is a law. So if
Yes.
this guy goes and pulls his boat, he's breaking the law. So which
Yes.
means he's committing a crime. So they're creating criminals.
You're right. You're right.
And that's this guy livelihood to go pay this $300. Now, if I'm quoting the wrong price, somebody call me and correct me. But they you got to go pay this for this license. He doesn't have the money, barely making enough money to go catch fish.
Right.
So,
That's
so
his
that
cash
means he
for the day or
right.
whatever.
So he has a choice. He either parks the boat, don't make no money, or he tries to duck the police and go get Kez boat out so he could go make money to feed his family.
Do it in the night.
Right. So,
Like the rest.
so some laws create criminals, right? Now, but that's the extreme. That's the extreme I'm talking about. Then,
Yeah.
but you have criminals out here.
Like
That just-
like the customs exemption that creates
Oh,
many
yeah.
criminals.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
let's move on.
Before we incriminate ourselves, right?
I know, right?
They be looking
No,
for you
we're
on that.
law-abiding.
Yeah.
We're law
I
abiding.
always pay my customs and I don't hide nothing under the
Never,
clothes and
never.
wear my new clothes so I can
Like
try
I
to.
spend more than what is the exemption?
Whatever the exemption, I don't spend more than that.
Whatever. No, I can't. Certainly can't. But
Yeah.
definitely, and that might not be the only. I know you might come up with other ways. The child support laws.
Yes.
Other things that actually are not in people's favor, and so it causes people want to
Right.
find other ways to get out of the situation.
Correct.
But when we think about crime, though, I would normally look at the murder rate.
Yes.
And I'd normally say, well, it's not so bad. We have 400,000 people. When you look at the ratio, it's 100. We had 120 something. But when you look at crime, I was looking at the stats, Jason, and you look at not just murder, you look at attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at manslaughter, when you look at rape, attempted rape, unlawful sexual intercourse, which is different from rape and attempted rape, armed robbery, attempted robbery. Then there's burglary, housebreaking, shop breaking, stealing from a vehicle, stolen vehicles. When you look at the stats for those individual crimes, then we do have a problem.
Almost definitely.
And I don't know that we should be saying this on the air because it might be affecting our
No.
there's a reason why the government doesn't pay much attention to this or air this
No, they
because
need
of
to.
our product.
We need to, but no. See,
But we have a problem.
but see, crime. What you just listed off just now. That's all around the world. There's very
Yes,
few
that's
countries
true.
that has that in check. The countries that has that in check are mostly those communist countries, dictatorship countries.
Right.
Where they are really extreme. So if you get caught stealing,
Then they
a hand is gone, a finger's
yes,
gone.
Yes.
So
But why I brought it up is because for me personally, and I don't know how many other persons, because these things are never publicized. the only thing you'll hear about are the murders.
Murders. That
So
really.
when I really looked at this and I'm seeing stuff in the hundreds, you know, these kind of incidences in the
Mhm.
hundreds, and I'm like, okay, this is and so if you look at it, let's say 507 persons for housebreaking in 2022 and 495 in 2023. That's 409. That's almost 1,000 persons would have been affected
Definitely.
by that one crime.
Definitely.
So and you look at the individual acts and how many persons have been affected, then it was an eye opener for me, because like I said, I always just look at the murder rate and that
Listen,
it's
and-
not so high.
And before we get to murder and the really heinous, the really like rape and murder and attempted stuff, those housebreaking, I want you to know that they are far-reaching. They, I don't know if you ever were a victim
Oh
of
yes.
being your home
Couple
broken
times,
into.
Yes.
Listen,
Home
that
and car.
that leaves you in a
Feel
state.
violated.
Yes, because you
Yes.
come home
Yes.
and you come home and you meet your house in a uproar, ransacked, everything thrown over the place, and you don't know which way to turn.
Yes.
Then you start looking around. I wonder if the person's still inside the house.
Yes.
And then after you realize the person is gone. Now you trying to say, okay, wonder if I could catch them.
Yes.
And you're met with these a bunch of emotions, and you try to say, okay, how am I going to deal with this? And then the aftermath, now the cleaning up, and now you're wondering, will they come back while you're at home?
Exactly.
So now you can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It plays with you mentally,
It does. You really feel violated.
and so now it brings out a side of you that you did not know, or that you may have
That's true.
put away.
That's true.
It brings that back to head, because after my housebreak, I was like,
You
ready
feel
to-
like you could commit a crime.
I
right?
was ready
about
to.
say.
I was ready to.
Exactly. I was about to say crime creates
Begets
criminals.
crime,
Right?
yes.
It does because when you're in a situation like that, and I remember once when my home was broken into, and this happened maybe about 5 o'clock in the morning, and when I went in my son's room, it was ransacked, drawers pulled out, and everything. He was in the bed, but he was small, and he may have been about 4 years old, and the blanket was on him, and it was crumpled up. You couldn't tell someone was in the bed because he was covered from head to toe, and
Wow.
like you say, the feeling that you get, of course, the fear, the what if, you ask
Right.
yourself, what if something had happened, whatever, and then if I catch him,
Yes.
you know that
Yes.
it's gonna
Yes.
be me.
Yeah.
So this, so I can imagine persons who would have lost way more. Mine was just a what if situation.
Hmm.
But what about the people who
Actually, yes.
lost people?
That's
So this is yes.
That's dangerous. That's so. I remember back in my situation, I was in this rage, and I remember just looking around, and I was at this. I'm not going to call the place, but I was at this eatery, this fast food joint, and these young fellas, they outside. I waiting to pick up my food, and they're just talking. Yeah, boy, the street's hot, boy. Boy, you got to do what you got to do to make this paper, and they're talking about doing whatever, and they made reference to like more getting stolen stuff. And I look at them, I say, listen, I don't know these boys from a can of paint. I say, listen, if I catch anyone in my house, but they say with the word they use, unalive. Unalive. Listen,
I never heard that
listen.
They-
I was in a
Yes.
rage, and they saw me. They must have felt my energy. It's like, boy, that's a vibe. That's true. Because I was like almost daring them, because I wanted to take out my frustration on them. Mind you, they might have beat me, because I ain't like I'm no giant fella, and ain't like
Right.
these are no small fellas.
How long
But
ago
the
was it?
rage, this was like maybe 10, 12 years ago.
You might have been able to beat them. Don't try to.
Yeah, I
Because
still
we
had,
can't- we
I still
can't
had the vigor.
protect you.
Yeah, but the crime, it causes criminals,
Yes.
to be a victim of crime.
Yes.
It either causes you to retreat into yourself,
Or you
or
become
causes you
aggressive.
to become aggressive. And I
Yes.
became aggressive.
Yes.
And I thank God that I didn't meet anybody to cause me to act out
Right.
on how I was feeling. Because we wouldn't have been doing Let's Talk today.
Okay. We have
So
to
we'll
go
take
to
a commercial. Yeah, we'll take a commercial break, and be right back with more talk on crime.
Okay.
I'm Flynn Daxon from Nose Witness News, reporting live from Sniper Paintball City. We're here with the manager, and he's going to tell us a little about what they have to offer.
Daddy, I got this at Sniper Paintball. We have paintball, cornhole, mini golf, batting cage.
Strike!
That's not a strike.
So come on down every Saturday and Sunday to Sniper Paintball City, located next to Crosstown, where you and the family can have a great time.
See you at Sniper.
So welcome back to Let's Talk. Don't forget, call us, man. 352-8255, 352-8255. Like, share, subscribe. And if you don't feel like calling, you can drop a comment in the chat and we'll read it out live online.
I'm seeing pictures now.
No, go be going upscaling.
Yes, we have a message from Priska. Priska, we miss you tonight.
Yeah, we do, Priska.
Yeah, she's saying for some people, desperate times call for desperate measures.
True. For some people, they just want fast money. They don't want to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That's true too.
But
I
listen,
don't know how desperate can you be, or how desperate should you be, where your action should cause somebody else.
It's correct.
It's gonna
It's correct.
cost someone else.
Right.
So I cannot agree that there should be at any time where your actions should cost me.
Right.
If you want something, ask me. If I can help you, then I'll help you. And I think we have a lot of areas, or we have facilities that help people in the Bahamas.
Yes.
We have a lot of agencies and facilities that help people. So there's never a reason for crime.
Yes. So the statement is true, what she says. But like I said, we here in the
Right.
Bahamas, we haven't reached that desperate time yet.
Right.
Now, some people might say as desperate times. No, that's just a set who don't want to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they might be
Or-
working hard.
Some people don't want to work at all.
Yeah, but I was trying to be nice.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, we haven't reached that desperate time yet, Priska, where we have to do desperate measures. People you see doing these things, they still have a choice.
Yeah.
There's still a choice. We still have a choice. Like Cheryl mentioned, we have places out there who can help people. It mightn't be what you want, but it doesn't have to make you resort to crime. Now, it depends on what type of crime you're talking about now, because, you know, we have street walkers. That's a crime, but we don't like to call it. We don't like to acknowledge it. It's an
oldest
exchange of
profession.
cash. Yeah, the oldest profession.
We know what it is, Jason. We do not need you to explain anything else. But well, I don't want to say. I didn't want to say. You know, when we talked about, is there ever a reason for crime? The only time would be self-defense, I suppose.
And
Trying to save your life and the life of
right,
your loved one.
and that's when a crime is being perpetrated on you. So
yeah, on
that's
you
so
at that moment.
that's a
not
reaction.
After, not 2 days later.
Yeah,
or,
like
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
A week later, like
or
it's still looking to take it out on me.
Yes. So.
But yeah, so crime, it has far-reaching. It's far-reaching. It doesn't just
is.
stop
It
where you think it is.
It is.
It goes into our psyche. It can spill over into our family life, our work life, into our mental state. Some
Right.
people may never recover. You
And
know,
it affects generations, because when you look at the crimes that are being perpetrated, at least the murders, it's mostly males.
Yes.
And you're looking at fathers.
Mhm.
So those are, let's say we would have had maybe about 80 or 90 out of the 130 would have been males.
Last
That's-
year.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's 90 homes
affected.
that
yes.
that's affected. That's
Yes.
90 children growing up without a father. That's
Yes.
90 that generation of persons that are being affected by this, because you don't know what could happen, and we know how it goes. What happens depending on how a child grows up. It
Right.
affects them. It affects how they parent. You know, depending on whether you find God or not. And sometimes when you do find God, you still have some of those habits.
Some
that you
issues,
just
right.
Don't get to break.
That's right. And you know, the retaliation was happening right now, right? Because and Nassau, listen, they gone crazy. I don't know what this is, something in the water over there. But as of this that starts what I heard was when the murder count was at 27, and that was only 57 days. We was only 51 days into the year. So I don't have the current the current murder rate. But at 51 days into the year and having 27 murders. So that was like
Every
2
point something days, you
we had a
have
murder, and that's
murder.
crazy.
And that's just a murder, though, Jason.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? we're not looking at the rape and the breaking.
Right,
the
that's just
whatever.
murder.
That's
That's murder.
just
That's
murder.
crazy.
Mhm.
So I mean, okay, some stats what I had was crimes against persons increased 23% with 1,072 incidents compared to 870 incidents in 2021. Of course, this so the rates what I'm talking about
So
are 2022 to 2021.
Okay.
So I don't have it from
Okay.
last year.
Yes.
And
that's
there
the
were-
stuff I found as well.
There were regional increases at rates of 23% in New Providence and 29% increase in Grand Bahama. So Grand Bahama crime rates increased more than New Providence. And this was in the year 2022.
Wow.
And we had
And that's crimes against people.
crimes against people. And then we had homicides increased by 8% with 128 incidents compared to 119 incidents in 2021. That's crazy. Now that's the stats on 2022. We in 2024 and 51 days into the year and we already had 26 or 27 murders. That is crazy. I'm scared to find what the stats is, the percentages. Because I know right now.
I'm not
Because
sure
I
what
know
it is.
it's worse.
But they also say that even within that year, I think from 2021 to 2022, the solvency rate on that was about 69%. I think that is kind of good.
Mhm.
But it is mainly the fact that it was just a lot of retaliation.
Exactly,
So it
they're
was
solving
easy.
it. Right, they're killing off each other. Right?
Exactly.
Wow,
And it makes me wonder.
that's crazy.
I don't want to say they're making the police job easier for them, but something needs to be done. That means then there's no. Not only there's something wrong with our justice system, but there's no rehab that's
Right,
all right. Let me say no effective
right.
rehabilitation of these persons then, because if they're going in and they're coming out and they're still committing the same crimes that they did before, then no help.
Right. Sharon, and that was one of the social ills we did not get to mention last week, the judicial system. The pace of it. It seems as if it's not moving fast enough.
Right.
You know, and then guys out on bail with 3 murder charges against them.
Right.
How? You know, I understood. A lawyer explained it to me, but it still ain't making sense. It made sense to a point, but
What
why
did
is
he
a
say
person?
exactly?
He's saying, you know, you can't, if the case ain't being tried, you can't hold a guy indefinitely until his case being tried, so you got to let him out. Because they only could hold him a certain length of time before the case is tried without
They probably
infringing
have
on his rights.
Live in his space as well.
Right. So you have people out there on 3 murder charges and
So instead of us making some amendment, we just allow them to be out there on the street. And I guess it's not a problem because they're only killing each other.
right.
So when they start to kill us, then
right,
it
then it
becomes
becomes
an
an issue because you know that's what the word is, and I'm just saying it now. I have no proof of this, but they're saying that the police is allowing them to just take each other out
You saying
because
that on the air?
because they know who it is.
Wow.
These guys are known to police.
That's
They-
a vigilante. No, there's no way. I mean, I guess it's easy to say that because it's so obvious what is happening.
Right.
But if we ever allow that, then that could get out of control because that means then the criminals are running
Yeah.
the streets.
It's like okay, they on that side over there, they're taking out each other because for the
But
police to
they're
go in
not
there.
on that side over there though, Jason. They're in neighborhoods doing this. They're
Right.
doing this on the steps in the broad daylight.
In certain neighborhoods. See, it
in
ain't spilling
certain-
over to other neighborhoods, so
But
that's why they
a
let
lot of
them.
innocent people in those same. There are children,
Yes,
mothers, and grandmothers.
but
and
read between the
children.
lines what I was saying.
I-
It's
I
not
do
reaching
understand. I
certain
do-
neighborhoods, so
I-
that's why they're allowing it. I shouldn't say they're allowing. It appears to be letting it happen. Now the police
yes,
force
I
might be understaffed, undermanned. They might not have enough resources, and then you got a lot of people who just covering up. They're not coming forward. But they say snitches get stitches, or I know stitch. So they know who committing the crimes, and they're not going to say it.
Right.
They're not helping the police out. So it could be a myriad,
Yes.
more,
lot of different
very
things, yeah.
different reasons why these cases are continuing to happen.
Yeah.
The Minister of Defense made a statement, and I said it last week. He said that these criminals that we see that's committing all these crimes, they're not dropping out of the sky. They're not coming over on boats and stuff like that. They're not just appearing.
Yeah.
They coming from right in our homes.
Yes.
We know who they are,
Yes.
but we ain't saying nothing.
Yes.
We covering up for them.
true.
Not my good
That's
son.
true.
You know,
Absolutely.
I remember I had
I
a little
heard-
bad streak, right?
Oh.
And I was
Confession time.
mischievous. You know, they say story time. And toys were in the store, and we didn't have no money for the toys.
You have a police officer on hand
So
to get you.
fingers were a little sticky. Fingers were sticky. But guess what? My mommy, if she didn't buy it, where it come from?
Exactly.
Get it out my house.
Exactly.
I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
We don't have that type of parenting. It don't seem
we
like we have
don't.
that type of parenting going on today.
We
You
have
know?
a lot of parents who have dropped the ball. The child, even from the very, and I don't know how old you were, but from the very young age, if your child brings home something you didn't buy it,
Right.
you don't know how they got it, then they shouldn't have it.
Exactly. And mommy, she didn't play that. Get it out the house. And we
Exactly.
couldn't get it. So if we want to use it, we got to play with it outside the house. We got to find crafty ways, right?
Right.
But the point is,
That's
mommy
what it should
did
be.
not allow it.
Yes.
But today you have parents who seemingly they know what their children are into. They receive stolen goods.
Yes.
They know what their
ask
child
any
into. They are
questions.
right. The child. They know where their children are getting these monies from, and they allow them
Yes.
to do when the guy who broke into my house, because the police caught up with him. That fella was out on 3 bails
Wow.
for house breaking. Caught up with him. You know where my stuff was? Right in the house where his mummy was. Where his mummy and his
Wow.
girlfriend was living.
Wow.
They know.
Yes.
They encourage. They ain't
Yes.
stopping. They ain't turning him in.
Don't ask any
So
questions.
right. So they just benefiting off it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have parents like that now. They see them on TV crying and all this stuff, but before that child got there, they could have stopped
Mm-hmm. They
that.
could
They
have.
know what
That's
that
true.
child was into.
That is true.
But we don't have parents now stepping up and being parents.
Right.
The right kind of parents. They know. They encouraging their child to go out there and get it by any means necessary.
Yes, that's true.
Because it benefiting them.
Because it does. Yes, that's true.
And so
Yeah,
the
because
criminals-
you know he's not working. You know he doesn't have. Well, he might be working.
He ain't got
doesn't
that-
have a 9 to 5.
and he ain't pulling in that
And
kind of
he's
money.
Not exactly, but yet he drives. a
Exactly.
car and he's buying you this and he's buying you that,
Mhm.
bringing you cash.
And she's accepting
and
it.
You accept it.
Yeah.
That's true. So you
And
become
then-
a perpetrator.
Oh, he was a good boy and he don't hurt nobody and he take care of his children. Yeah, but what else? What did he do to gain those stuff?
Exactly.
Who did he hurt to get those stuff?
Right.
You know, so we breed these people.
That's true.
And we like I say, we know the criminals in our families.
Yes, we do.
We don't turn them in. We know the police looking for them.
Any in my family.
We know the police looking for them. And we don't
'Cause we love
assist.
them. How are
Yeah.
we supposed to turn into people we love, Jason? What exactly are you saying? How are we, and plus, and then because of how we are, we see certain crimes as okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't
Yeah, we
killing nobody.
slide it off.
Ain't killing nobody, and so we allow it, and that graduates. It escalates and it becomes something bigger,
Yes.
and then what? Because usually that's how it starts.
Yes, it starts off small.
Yes.
And nobody just go out full blown go
Exactly.
into jump straight into armed robbery. They don't. That
That's
starts off
true.
somewhere.
Yes.
You know, and they don't just
absolutely.
start off by just jump right into rape. They don't just go.
That is
no,
true.
that person was assaulting people. Their
Doing
family
small
slided
things,
under.
yes.
It started off somewhere. You know,
it's-
and nobody
it's
corrected him,
overlooked.
or nobody turned him in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we covered up for him, and now he's committing
Mm-hmm.
the big crime, and now we want to cry.
Right.
We want sympathy.
And as I talked about, I guess before we say anything else, we're being commanded to take another commercial break, so we will take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, stick around.
Where you going, mate?
To go buy these tickets for the party tonight.
Why this boy so dumb?
Tickets242.com.
You know how hard it is?
They sell tickets for parties, concerts, plays, sporting events, everything.
You know how expensive bus is?
Well, if you just buy the tickets online, they could just send you it in the email. Then you could just print it off.
You know how strong mosquitoes is?
Or you could go to the box office downtown at the Genesis Street Girl.
You ain't scared of Joneses, they.
So welcome back, Cheryl. We stop you right midway in between your statement.
Thought?
Yeah, your thought. What
You know,
were
I'm
you
not
going
young
to say?
anymore. I probably forgot what I was going to say. I think. Now I wanted to say, we talk about unemployment and
Mhm.
and things like that being reasons for why we have could be some of the reasons, but I think a lot of these people just don't want to work.
No,
They don't want the jobs that are out there.
being presented right.
Exactly. So you have some people who are hell bent on being criminals.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to
They
do.
want that easy
And
money
they-
like
thank
Prisca
you.
talked about.
They don't want to do anything else.
Prisca says there's no real consequences for crime. You commit a crime today, you're out in 3 to 6 months, back to living your best life. And that is so true.
Yes.
That's the judicial system again.
Yes, and the guys with the ankle bracelet, it's
Yeah.
like jewelry.
Yes.
They're walking around and they're flexing it, and they don't even care.
Man, look here. I
I'm
think
like,
that's a flex.
Do I put a sock on, pull it up over
That's a
that or
flex
something?
because they getting all the girls. That like a girl that just attracting the girls. That's a girl magnet.
Yes.
I wonder why.
I'm telling you,
Bad
but,
boysy.
my daughter and I, we were in Nassau, and her car broke down.
Mm.
And, a guy came over to assist us, and I looked down. He was wearing an ankle bracelet. Well, I was just getting help. I was just happy for the help, but I was a little terrified. I'm like, Lord, I wonder what he did.
Mhm.
I couldn't help, but I
Right.
couldn't wait for him to just hurry up, help us fix the car, and I was on my way.
God was with you.
Yes.
So Prisca said, make the bail higher so that their loved ones cannot afford to pay bail. That's true. Should make it higher. But now,
But then,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Do we have enough facilities to house these criminals?
Exactly.
Because next thing we'll be overrun.
Exactly. And I
We-
think that's part of the problem now that we don't have enough. But I'm thinking though, we have all these islands.
Yes.
We have all these islands. We need to have one of those islands as build a prison on one of those islands.
That idea was being thrown around, I think, from I was in
Get
school.
some sharks and put around the island so the waters will be shark
Train,
infested.
train, train the
Train
sharks.
the sharks, yes. You don't have some that we just keep blood in the water.
But I mean, that's a good thing. But
Mm-hmm.
the government, I don't know if they actually think about these. They have to think about these because me and you could have these ideas. I'm sure they have that idea. But that could be a pretty expensive venture to go into because now you got to build a facility.
I'll pay taxes
You
for that.
Yeah, we paying taxes now. The
I
VAT
know,
money,
but
they
you-
can't give account for the VAT money. They might as well use it on that, eh?
Well, that is true too. That is true. But before we go any further, we have someone here who's living in Nassau, and she's saying now no longer just certain areas. It happened in Yamakura and on Prince Charles Highway, so it's everywhere now. Something has to be done to disrupt this.
Yes, most definitely. And I what could we do? I mean, what we were talking about is putting on an island, putting something out on the island. That was being thrown around for a long time. Oh, Prisca
But
says
we're not short on ideas.
No.
though. Don't our government?
it's funding it.
They have. I think it's just. I don't think the interest is in the right
No.
place, or the popular. They do what they feel they need to do. They have their own agenda,
Most
and their
definitely.
agenda is the most important. And I don't think we're gonna get anything done unless we do something.
Demand
to-
it, yes.
exactly to get them to
Get
move.
radical.
But we don't. It doesn't affect enough of us at the same time
Right.
for us to
Right.
make enough noise for it to cause them to So go ahead. You can read Prisca's
Prisca says, you are absolutely right. The mothers, fathers, wives, girlfriends, and all know the criminal activity their loved ones are into. And many of them profit off of it.
Yes.
And that was I was going to say. You think they are not addressing it because they probably benefiting from it?
You mean
crime?
Well, I think some of them are, especially the white collar crimes. I think some of them are benefiting
Because
from it.
even if these criminals, they hire lawyers. The lawyers need to be paid.
Right. And most of our respectable leaders are
Defense,
are-
criminal attorneys, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
but like I was saying, to put the prison on another island, right? That's job creation right there.
Yes.
Because if you put a prison out there, you gotta put up facilities around it to house for the people who are going to be working out on the key or whatever like that. I mean, it's it could be a business idea, they could make money from it
is.
because you
It
got
is.
people going to live out there. You know, they got housing, you got to put a food stores and all the whatever else. But something just needs to be done, and then
Something has to be done.
Because and the recidivism rate, that's the word I use, right? When they go back.
Right.
I need to know this percentage on that because it seems like these same people are committing the crimes. Either they're getting killed or they're going back to jail. I don't know if it's new criminals.
70-something% of the persons who were murdered were people who were on bail.
See there?
It was
See that?
it was as high as 70-something%.
Wow.
That is ridiculous.
Crazy. So they're letting them, it almost appears that they like you mentioned earlier, they're letting them kill each other off.
that. And that is crazy because you will have innocent people getting killed in the
Yes.
crossfire.
Yes.
There was a crime where I'm not sure how long ago was it, this year or last year, when the girlfriend was killed in the car. I don't think she had anything to do with it. It's just my assumption. But you're
Nah.
gonna have innocent people getting hurt.
I wouldn't go as far as to label her as innocent,
Well,
but
like
I
you
like a
say,
stray bullet catching somebody like that. That's when
She
I
could
call
be
them innocent.
innocent
Now,
too, Jason.
I mean, she's
Oh my
innocent,
God.
right? Because she
Yes.
didn't. Nobody deserves to be murdered.
right.
But
But in terms of
I
not
have a feel-
knowing anything about
right,
it, like
she
you say,
know.
yes.
You know
Yes,
what
yeah.
most of them know what their
What
loved
they're
ones are
doing.
into.
That's true.
And
That's true.
if I know my family member is into bang bang bang,
Right.
I'm not gonna associate with him because I know the person who's
Yeah,
buying
I'm not
at
gonna be caught
gonna
dead
probably
in a
come
car
back
with you
at
either.
exactly
Exactly. Yeah.
because they're gonna come back and retaliate, and I could catch it.
That's
So
true.
therefore, you gotta
I
use
don't
some
want any
wisdom.
yeah, that's
You gotta
true.
use some wisdom, right?
That is true.
But no, like I said, let's be clear. Nobody deserves to be murdered. Nobody deserves to be shot. That's what we have
Yeah.
law for, the justice system for, to deal with that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So the Bail Act definitely needs to
definitely,
be amended.
definitely, and
Definitely needs to be amended. I don't know why people are getting bail for murder.
but check this out. Wasn't the police just involved in a drive-by shooting?
Oh, I missed the news.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yes.
Police. And before we even get to that, let's get some more armed forces on the streets, right? To help with this crime. We sending them to Haiti. Do you know we sent?
I heard. It was one of those mouth jaw dropping moments. Like, okay, what?
I couldn't believe it.
What?
And that's when the murder rate was 27. I said, hold on, we
Yes.
got 27 murders.
Yes.
Retraining the guys to
We
send
only
them to
sent
help.
about 20 of them though.
It don't matter if we send one.
We didn't have.
That one could have been here to help fight the crime here in the Bahamas.
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm all about helping others, but I think it's the good book will say help your house first.
Yes.
Deal
not
with your
at-
house first. Then you
not
will
at
help
the
others.
risk of
Yeah.
you suffering some kind of loss.
No, we
Yes,
deal with them.
I was wondering about that, but
That
maybe
was
they didn't-
crazy.
Maybe they didn't feel it necessary that we needed those extra officers. That
Really?
Yes, because they, it was said we don't have a policing problem.
No?
We don't have a policing problem, and we have a lot of programs, policing programs
Mhm.
that is done in our community. The neighborhood watch program that they do, even with the urban renewal
Yeah, that's a
with
good
police
yeah.
going in, being in the community, being known, and goes around and learns who people are. I think those are pretty good, and because
Yeah, they're
our
good
communities are
initiatives.
so
Mhm.
small enough for that to happen, it's just that there are certain nuggets of places that continue
To be a problem.
to be a problem.
You know, the late great Linden had a great idea. What he tried to enact when I was in school, right? But the opposition spend it. He wanted to come with this act. I forget the name of it, but anyway, it would take the guys who aren't working, so they would go in service for I think it was 2 years. So if you ain't working, and even if you're delinquent, you go and go into this service and you serve for 2 years.
What is that?
Disciplining, I forget the act, and the opposition spend it as he trying to create his own army,
Wow.
right? And I was coming out of high school, ain't too sure of a job. I said, hold on, that means I gotta go serve? No, boy, I vote my ex. I put my ex
So you
for the
voted
red
against it,
it.
and now you think it's a great
It
idea.
is a great idea. You know why?
What's the difference between you, Jason, now and Jason then?
Jason now, because I can see now. Ain't nobody can swing me now.
Wisdom of age and
Yeah,
experience.
exactly.
Yes.
Because a lot of young boys don't have that discipline.
Right.
They don't have the fathers in the homes to help guide them.
That's true.
That service was right there. That would have stepped in.
And they would have been paid.
Exactly. To come up with a trade and it'd have been disciplined. Anybody, when guys go to those type of services, they teach them discipline. They teach them self-control.
Yeah.
They teach them manners and how to respect authority. So when they come out, you have productive men.
Yes, that's true.
You have gentlemen, you have men. 90%, I believe 90% of those would have been productive citizens.
At least a
all
better
would,
chance at
right.
at being a productive.
Rather than what we have now.
Yes.
So we have a lot of wayward guys. They don't know what to do
And
with their
if-
time. They're
if
being
you look
influenced by
at-
gangs and stuff.
Yes, and I'm not sure what year that was, because if you knew the year, you could say, okay, these people are probably
That was
in their-
89. I graduated in 89.
Okay, so
So-
these persons are in their late 40s, early
Definitely,
50s now.
yes.
So
And guess what? In turn, they would have been
rare that
exactly.
young men,
And then
their
if
children and yes,
all these guys who
generations that
delinquent,
follow.
so
That's
if you
true.
don't have a productive, good father figure in whom, they'd have been rounded up and
Yes.
come, y'all go serve.
Yes.
And I think it would have only been for 2 years. And he pitched it. It was a great idea. That I see the wisdom of it.
But I've seen many ideas that come from our leaders, but because it's not, once a new government goes in, they change it, or they don't, they stop it, they don't
Yes.
continue working on it just because it's not their idea, and they move on to
And
something
that's so
else.
sad.
It is sad.
Because we suffer for it. And we
I've
so
seen-
fool.
Mhm.
We become polarized and
Exactly.
we go with our party and we take whatever they say, hook, line, and sinker. Not look into it for ourselves to see how it'll benefit the country.
Exactly, because there was, and I won't call any political party, but there was a, I will.
It was the National Youth Service. That's
Yeah,
what it was
that's what it's
called.
called?
National
National
Youth
Youth
Service.
Service?
That's what it
Okay.
was called. Go
But
ahead.
I saw, I don't remember the details of it, but I saw a political party that had an excellent platform for a fight against crime.
Mhm.
Excellent. And I'm thinking, even if this party doesn't win, they need to sit down and share this plan
Right.
with the other party. And I'm sure if they work together, that definitely would be productive.
You know what it might
But
have.
they don't do
They
that.
don't care. See, the other party don't want to take it because it ain't our idea,
Mhm.
and the party presenting it don't want
They
to
wanna
share
give
it
up
because
they
if
want to
they
wait until they get in, so that if they get in, that
that-
they can
right,
use
that
it
could be a brownie
to
point.
promote-
So
yes.
nobody's looking out for the country.
The
They're
country
looking out for
suffers.
themselves,
Exactly.
and it's so sad.
Just
So
like a bad marriage.
yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we, the Bahamian public, need to rise up. We need to wake up and stop being party politics.
We won't, though.
And no, we won't, because we
won't.
we,
You
we
can talk till
benefit.
you're blue in the face,
Yes,
but we
yes.
won't.
And you know something? That's where crime is too. It's because it's at the top and it trickles down.
That's true.
You know, this corruption. You know, you could bribe just about anybody. Just about anybody could be bribed.
Yeah.
Almost all of us have our price.
Right price, yes.
And that's where it starts. If a person can't be bought, then that's good. That's when the country going in the right direction. But almost
Leave
everybody
my
has,
leaders alone. Leave my leaders alone.
but see, that's the thing. How many of them go in there and mismanage our money? I shouldn't say they steal our money and there's no consequences. They move them out of that ministry. But you don't have them paying the money back. You don't have them
Exactly.
doing no crime. I mean, no time.
or- mhm.
They just sail off into the sunset. Them and their lovers and their family and whatever, they just living off of it. But the small man on the side of the road who's selling his coconut, they lock him up. But the man who still mismanaged the funds, he give contractors, sweetheart, he put the company in his different person name,
Yeah.
nothing happens to him. But they can come after the small man. See,
Yeah.
all of this crime, that's why our country is the way it is. Because at the top, before we go on a commercial break, I like story time. A guy, a family member of mine was bragging about his exploits. He had to go before the court. I'm not going to say the year, and I'm not going to say which court he going because they might be able to say
Right.
he going before the court, and they could say, you before me again? Say, listen, when I turn my back, I don't want to see you no more. Leave it on the table. He tell me
Wow.
how he put the $2,000 on the table, walk out the place.
Wow.
He thought I'd have been proud of him. I say, boy,
Yeah, he was bragging.
yeah, I say, so that's what has happened when somebody break into my house then.
Exactly.
I say, so that's what happened when
Exactly.
people buy my stolen stuff, right? They get paid,
do
and
that.
I was so upset, I was so mad, but everybody has their price, you know, and
Sadly.
that's why the criminals walking around because what okay, we say tip, everybody looking for tip, everybody wants something, and once you give it to them, you have your own way.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this. Stick around. So the question, welcome back. The question was asked, what's our price? Because I say everybody have a price. And I said, everybody has a price. Yes, I have a price too, but it depends on what they want to pay me for. And I mean, what they're asking me to do. But my price is extremely high. So they'll tell me, you ain't with it. So that means I don't have a price. But I have a price. My price is in the millions. And they can say,
Money,
no, that ain't
Jason.
with it. That ain't with it.
Wow.
They can say you ain't worth that. So that means I don't have a price.
I cannot be bought. I
Go
would
ahead.
only compromise myself for the lives of my children.
So you can compromise yourself.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's my price. That
So
would
you
be
have
my
a price. So everybody have a price.
So, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
Okay, let's just
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Ariel Aliyah says that was this year, and yes, the innocent will always be affected because they can be affected mentally and emotionally. And if I'm surrounded by crime, I'm now in a state of protection for myself.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely agreed. And I will protect myself and my family by any means necessary. So I guess that's her price as well.
Yes.
You know, and we
Go
don't
ahead.
necessarily and that's the thing you were talking about, you know, criminals create or crime begets
Yes.
crime because people might feel now people are going to feel they need to own a weapon.
Most
They need to be
definitely.
driving around with a cutlass in their car. They need to be whatever, and
'Cause
don't
you
want
never
people
know.
to get to a state of paranoia
Right.
where they're at you know, I mean, we do have people now who don't want to go to Nassau because they feel Nassau is so crime
Yes. Yes.
and they live in fear for their life. But I tell them, go sit down. You go to Florida.
I serious. And what
We're
more?
nowhere near
I
there.
serious.
But Priska is saying crime has become a political issue and not a societal issue, and that's a big part of the problem.
Yes. Yes.
That's true.
Yes. That's what we were talking about earlier, right?
Exactly.
They have the solution, but they don't want to do it because it's not our party's idea.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't gonna benefit my party to do it.
Yes.
So I gotta wait till I could use it for a car to keep me back and keep my seat, keep my
right.
you know.
Right.
That's so sad. We paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Glendina says dangerous little commercial face blues.
That has nothing to do with our topic for tonight.
I missed that.
Really, Jason?
Yeah. But anyway, y'all can tell me after the break. I thinking too deep.
Yes.
But crime, we were talking about everybody have their price, right? And people being bought. If they see the top being made to pay for their crimes, then maybe the smaller crimes would go away. You know? There's so much crime at the top and nothing's happening. It's being glassed over. When it-
Sadly,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that is part of the issue why some of the grassroots people become frustrated
Mm-hmm.
because they're saying, you know, I'm here working hard, and they can see what the other people are doing.
Yes.
They can see, you know, they hear the news
Mhm.
and they realize, okay, these people are getting away with it. Why am I here struggling making minimum wage? And of
Right.
course, that's no excuse, but
Right.
it is a part of the issue.
Right, and if you don't have God in you to show you the difference or to help you, I see why people do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the only difference between us and them is our God who we serve. That's who
That's
gives us the
true.
difference.
That's
So if they don't have that strength in God or that faith in God or walk with Him like that, then I understand
Right.
why they do what they do. I'm not saying that's why they should do it,
Right.
but I understand why some people do the things they do. Because you see the guys with the contracts, they're giving it to their buddies. They raising these prices so high, you know, to build a house. They say they increase it by 300%. You know, it didn't cost that much to pave that road.
Right.
Or to refurb that government office. But just so that you could get your kickback, you raise it, and you ain't even shame. You publicizing that. You put that in the paper. I paid $100,000 to renovate the post office, which was only like 10 by 10. And they only changed the top paper and painted. And you paid $100,000 for that? And you'd be like, wow, that's criminal.
Exactly.
That's criminal. And then here you are, we working 8-9 hours a day for minimum wage,
Right.
and nothing's happening. They ain't giving us. They won't even give us this.
A simple
social stuff.
Yeah, and simple little contracts.
Yeah,
Simple little contracts that you have, that people you can give to people who really need it. You give it to your family and your friends
so
who
it can
already
keep-
have jobs, who already are
have
doing
money.
well.
Yes,
And so there's no evening
it's
or
not
balancing.
flowing. Yeah, they ain't flowing down to
Exactly.
from the head straight
And
down.
That
It's-
can frustrate people because, like I said, these things are done where people can see them.
right in broad daylight, right in our face, slapping us right in the face, and then. But guess what? I blame us too, because we're the fools who go and campaign, and when they come with their red and their yellow shirt, we right behind them, knowing what they just did to us last year. But
So,
now
I
it's
mean-
political time, so now we
But we
forget.
have to choose the lesser of the two evils, because at the end of the day, that's what we end up with.
Well, we could
Unless you
make
decide to run, Jason, and then we could vote for you.
right. I've learned from trying to represent people that people are all talk. You know, they would say, "Let's go fight." You go to fight, and when you turn around, you standing there, maybe one or two people there. You know, and I've learned that with my Bahamian people, we are all talk. And I'm trying to change that mindset. I'm hoping the young people are different, but the people around my age and, you know, my set, they just talk.
Well, we're I don't know if I'm using the term correctly, but we have this herd mentality where we don't want to stand alone. You know, we don't want to stand up if we're standing alone.
Yes.
Or standing with a few.
Right.
You know, we will just go along with the larger crowds. Whatever
Correct.
the larger crowd is doing, we'll do that, because we don't, and we could be passionate about it, you know, but we just don't want to sacrifice or do the extra that it requires to stand up or stand
Right.
alone.
And guess what? In the end, it can benefit us, you know, but
Of
we just don't
course.
want to fight.
No.
I take, for example, story time again. Out
You're
when
gonna
we
make this short. It's almost closing time.
yeah, when we were the electricity bill, you know, when they were raising the price for the power bill.
Yes, I remember
And we
you
had
out there.
the
I
big
wanted to come so bad.
yeah, everybody wanted to come. It
it
may
again
have
out
been
there.
now that affects we have what 50,000 people in Grand Bahama, so that let's say about
Down to like
20,000.
30, 40 now.
We
after
down
Dorian.
yeah at the time. So
Yeah.
now at the time let's say about 20,000 people that are affected. We may have had 20 people out there standing up with placards protesting the hike in power bill. And mind you, this power bill affects
Yes.
everybody. Everybody cries about it. But no, 20 people decide to say, let's sacrifice. Let our face be shown. Let our voices be heard. We want better.
That's true.
But they didn't come out to support. But I guess I bet if we to succeed, oh yeah, we
Would've
did
been-
it. They'd have been out there cheering us.
Yeah.
And I don't, listen, that's why I say I've learned. I can stand up for me.
Don't stop though.
No, I
Don't
stand up for
stop.
me and
because
my-
we're learning though. We're learning.
I hope. That's what I
And
say.
I think at some point we'll get it. Let's hope before while we're still able.
I have hope in this younger
Yeah,
generation.
There's
I'm
power
speaking.
in the voice
Yes.
of the crowd, and we hopefully we get it.
But before we move on, just touch on the sexual crimes against women. I mean, sexual crime affect men too, but women are more affected by this. And we can't just, we'll do you all a disservice if we don't mention how, listen, I want to castrate. I'm all about castrating these offenders.
So we're
Castrate
touching on
them.
it just so you can say that, Jason.
Yes. I want the crime to be so hard on these offenders who rape and sexual crimes against children and women. And even boys too, because it happens to men. Men get raped too, right? But affects mostly women. My blood boils when I hear about these things. Yeah, I'm an advocate, and I can never stop standing up and walk. If I have to walk alone, I would walk alone for that now.
Yes.
For harsher crimes, stiffer penalties, and swifter justice against sexual crimes. I want that Public Sexual Offenders Act registry. I want that to be published. and I'm talking now because I ain't talking about these guys who got falsely accused of rape, and because we have some of that going on too. So,
Yes.
but once you've been convicted of rape, you then go on through the justice system, you're convicted of rape, and you serve time. Listen, put that person's name on the registry so we can know where that person is, especially these pedophiles.
And the adult who knows about it too. I
Yes,
think,
yes, most definitely.
Just like the last incident with the mom who wanted the child to do the abortion, the 11-year-old. She should be on the registry as well.
Listen, the
But
father,
she's just as guilty.
yes, the man who
as he
committed
is.
the crime is sick in the head. That woman is worse than him because he has a problem. He's demon possessed. But for that woman to actually go along with it, and she
Yes.
didn't commit that crime,
Yes.
and to take her child,
Yes.
she's worse than that fella. Two of them need to be, what they say, need to go to hell with her.
I would have supported her begging for her after she would have committed murder. That is a crime. That's a crime.
Right. I'd have been there with her.
said
Yes.
that.
Let that woman
Okay?
go free.
Yes.
Let that woman
You know
go
what
free.
I mean? That's a needed crime.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying
No,
that.
I agree with you,
Anyway.
Cheryl. I agree with you. I agree. Righteous judge,
we're just
righteous
sick.
anger.
Yes.
And to hear when children are molested and just
Children and the
elderly.
the crimes perpetrated against those children
Listen.
and elderly people,
Listen,
there should be
no bail.
stricter punishment.
Yes, and
And
harsh.
you'll never have a vigilante criminals or crime as
Right.
a result of those ones because
Because
it's not a revenge thing.
I'm gonna tell you, I thank God that He never, because our God is a good God. He never puts more on you than you can bear, and He knows where that would take me if somebody close to me
yes.
is a victim of that. Because
Say
I'm
no
not going to
more.
incriminate
Say
myself
no
on
more.
there, but we need to castrate these fellas.
Yeah.
We need to bring the cat o' nine tail. We need public hangings. We need floggings, all corporal punishment for these guys when they commit these
agree.
sexual crimes.
And the prison on the isolated island with the shark.
Yes, yes. And so I guess wrap up time.
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to get that because I want to get that off my chest. Sexual crime.
Yeah.
They're right up there with deadbeat dads. Deadbeat dads. I have this for them,
Wait, what?
but sexual crimes, they up here. That's my anger for them.
Okay.
That's my level.
Yeah.
So I won't go on record saying that. That's it.
We're gonna schedule some sessions by the
Yes.
Brazilian Center.
Yeah,
you.
for me.
So
Yes,
you can
yes.
Go and work out. Work it out. Okay. I think we've come to the end of our time.
Yes.
I just want to say, crime. I know Jason and I laughed a few times tonight, but this is a serious, serious issue, and I continue to feel for people who are affected by this, and I think that as a nation we need to do better. I think the police can do better, the lawmakers can do better, the leaders can do better, but as a people, just like you would have mentioned, the criminals are right in our homes. They are our children, our brothers, our sisters, they're our fathers, they're our uncles, they're our cousins, they're our people. And at some point we would have been in touch with them and in a position to do something about it before it gets out of hand. So it's not necessarily a nation problem. It's a people's problem.
Yes.
It's a people's problem, and I think at the end of the day, the breakdown is a family problem.
Yes. I agree. If they don't have that foundation, it goes out from there.
Yeah.
You need that foundation. So I guess it always comes back to the family, right? You see that? It always comes back to the family. Parenting and the family. That's key.
Structure, yeah.
Yeah, that's key. So my input would be talking to my Let's Talk farm out there now. If you got lawyers or judges or police, fine, let's see if we can find a way. Politicians in your circle, let's talk with them and see how we could get to fix our judiciary system, man. Let's see how we could make justice a little swifter. Because when people feel like they're denied justice, that's what leads them out to want to do vigilante. So I think we need to fix our judiciary system. And then our homes. We know the criminals in our homes. We might not want to talk. We might not want to turn them in, but let's talk to them and let's see how we could discourage them from continuing in their life of crime. Let's not support them. If we don't want to turn them in, let's try to discourage them. Let's see how we can stop them from hurting other people. Because you may be benefiting, that means somebody else is at a loss. You don't want the tables to turn and then now you're on cry bloody murder. So let's be proactive. Let's try to stop it. I would suggest turning them in. But we know how we love our people. We ain't gonna do that. So let's do the next best thing. Our action point is let's discourage them. And how do we do that? We have talks with them. We show them we love them by discouraging them from where it might end up, either in jail or worse, in the grave. So let's get the family foundation back together. Let's deal with them at home first. Deal with our kids. We don't want to encourage them in what I used to do, but to discourage them from a life of crime. So it all starts at the family. So this has been Let's Talk. Glad you joined us tonight. We'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Good evening, guys.